Good morning and welcome to Matchbook Betting Exchange English Greyhound Derby podcast. As always, I'm joined by the master, Paul Lawrence. Paul, we said prior to the opening round that the market would very much change in the coming days, and well, that's exactly where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, we both actually said, didn't we? We thought it should be 20-1, and it kind of ended up being that way before the Thursday first batch of heats. But there's been some sparkling performances, and that then obviously lends itself to bookmakers maybe running for cover and people trying to get on the exchange to try and take advantage of a fancy price that they might have seen something that caught their eye.
Yeah. Before we get into the outright update, we'll be taking a look at our second round preview, and then we'll also be giving our second round best bets. But before we do that, let's just kick off with the sign up offer. Of course, Insights 30 is the bonus code, all capitals, and that is £30 bet. And if it's a loser, you get it back as a free bet. So if you have your first £30 bet, if it loses, you get it back as a free bet. It's a no-brainer. I'm sure plenty would have been availing of that in the opening round, Paul, because while there were some fine displays from fancied runners, there was a few surprise performances also, but lots to get it stuck into. Firstly, our outright update, PL. We'll take a quick look at the market there because we do have a new favourite. A dog we were fairly sweet on, Balnabula Ed. He did nothing to dampen our spirits. It was a thoroughly brilliant performance by a greyhound that really is developing into something very special. La Toro has to get a mention in second in there at 12. He, of course, broke the track record, absolutely flashed from boxes, and never a doubt, sensational display. We knew it halfway he was probably going to break the clock, and he duly obliged. Just going forward, it'd be interesting to see how we can continue to trap like that. I don't know if we can or not. That's the issue I'm sure that Patrick Janssens has to try and address. Part Blake, who had come in for so much support prior to the competition, is next in with Thorn Falcon, who, while finishing third, I thought produced one of the runs of the opening round. Coulivanny Calvin, Kildare, and Sing Along Sally. The prices will be on the banner across the bottom for the next while. PL, let's talk about some of those runners. Balnabula Ed, firstly, brilliant performance. For those of us that were on at fancy enough prices, and we did advise him last week at certainly much bigger price than he is now, I think we have a right favourite.
Yeah, that's right, and the fact that I think you're looking at track records in the first round. We mentioned this, the likes of the past track record holders such as Bocco's Belly and Price's Jet, greyhounds of that ilk, where they get into a week.
Warzone Tom, the real strong runners.
Yeah, where they get a break, they get to dominate sort of weaker opposition, if you like, and they then obviously do quick times. And it's whether then they can get that same run to keep on doing that to progress to get to the final. Whereas the White Flash, as we might end up calling him, he missed his break Balnabula Red, and he flew to the bend against a really good yardstick in his kennel mate, Cushy Supreme, who had broken the track record himself at Enniscorthy. So, he just looked an all-round machine, and the fact that I actually went to watch his trial as well, and that was probably one of the reasons, not only just to go and see Pat and Emma, but I really wanted it because I'm the same as you, Ian. I saw this dog and his potential when he was running in Ireland a long while ago, and I really went there to watch him, and he was all over the place. He looked like a bit of a ball of string. He was still very, very puppyish, and it's from 1 week, literally 10 days later. He just looks he looks at a beast of a dog, and I think he can only go forward, and he's really, really exciting in my eyes.
Most people would be taken by the way he quickened up into the opening corner, but just the way he stretched him down the back straight and the way he galloped home, he moves with real purpose, real fluency, just a thoroughly likable display. And I think that Towcester's not going to be any issue to him. Obviously, he's going to need to brush up in his starting, but I'm both aware, and Pat Buckley's aware, that he can start much quicker than he did the other evening.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what I think a lot of video watchers always look for. That dog that doesn't always smash out the boxes, but shows brute early pace from a moderate break. Because, like you say, he can always brush up. He can always get better, through fitness and more knowledge of Towcester, but starting as well. And that is the scary thing about it. This is one fast animal.
Yeah, we could probably spend 25 minutes talking about Balnabula Ed, but then I dare say one or two of the viewers wouldn't get much satisfaction out of that. Latoro in second, we've mentioned him. We know he's capable of that. He's a beast when he does that. Change of seating, he's now a middle. He will be getting 5 and 6. He may even just be getting 6 towards the end of the competition. Will that be an issue? He's probably not going to break quite as well as he did the other evening. It'll be interesting to see when things get a bit hotter how he performs. But there's no question on his night, he's as fast as any dog around.
Yeah, and I think Patrick's been quoted as saying that as well. And it's one of those where, I listened to what Cheryl said when he won and came off the track, and they were worried about him at Perry Bar getting those draws on the outside. He kind of moved more probably lane 3 at Perry Bar, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to be in track 5 there. I think there's a slightly longer run to the corner at Towcester, and I think he can operate himself. I don't think. I actually went on record as saying this could cost him winning the Derby, being a railer, classified as a railer, because he's going to break better from down the middle. And you're right, he could end up with 5, he could end up with 6. He's ended up, with a fair makeup again in his second round heat, because a lot of those dogs, Ian, on his inside are going to be going across inside for him anyway. So it's not going to matter. He's not going to dive right across. He's going to edge across, and that's all he's going to do. And he actually stays fairly middle once he gets to the turn, which is quite crucial as well for him as a strong running sort of dog to bide his time. He's not going to, like you say, he's not going to lead every single time. If he traps like that, he's going to put himself in with a massive chance. But then he's got good all-round, but he's got a massive, massive engine. And to do the clock, that tells you that.
Yeah, it certainly does. We'll quickly glance through the remainder of them there. Park Blake, very forward run, much improved from his trial stake. Thorn Falcon, big run by the defending champion. Again, he's going to have to brush up a start. In Coulivanny Calvin, I thought ran okay. He left a gap for Sign at Denver. Just wonder, is he a yard short down the back straight? In Shelburne Park, the dog did close on him into the third bend, but he's still only very lightly raced, and that just might still come. I think it's a case of he's very much a pink starter, and he does stay on strongly. One to keep an eye on. Others there, I just see Bobsleigh Dream going out of the shot, but there's plenty of really talented dogs still there in behind them, and then. Like, we haven't even touched upon the 33, 40 to 1 chances that are still there and really performing. A couple of the dogs that we mentioned, the likes of Scarty Yank and Romeo Magico and dogs like this. Kildare, I didn't mention. Sing Along Sally. What's next? Scarty Yank, as mentioned. Is there anything there you want to particularly touch on, Paul?
Well, one of the dogs that I kind of wanted to ask you about is just going through the screen now. Is Ballymac Leon. You probably know. Well, it's not that I don't know anything about him because I've watched all the Kirby form, but I was quite impressed with his actual raw speed, and the fact that he broke well and then showed that pace in his opening round heat. He looks a fast animal to me, and I think again he's a young dog out of the Kirby, similar to Kildare, similar to Bannable Red, that is going to keep going forward. And Liam Down is a master at getting them to the finals, as he did with Ballymac Fair one last year. So I'm wondering whether this is the new kid on the block as well from Liam's yard. And of course, he's running against Bannable Red in their second round heat. So I think that's quite a race.
Yeah, it is quite a race. He was a dog that had showed promise in previous races, but it was a case of you knew the penny hadn't fully dropped yet. He was still very much an unfinished article. It was funny enough, I wasn't really particularly fancy him last week or anything like it for the anti-post market. But I heard Liam and Shane Dowling both speaking in different places prior to the opening round, and both referenced him as a very, very fast greyhound. They really think a lot of him, and they've had one or two little issues with him. It's worth pointing out he's a half brother to Pastana, amongst others. Ballymac Beanie, another Oaks champion. So the pedigree is there. He's a Ballymac Anton, and from what I've seen of his progeny, really powerful greyhounds. This fellow looked like the other night he combined the two, flashed from boxes, showed plenty of early boost, put the race to bed early, and stayed right to the finishing line. I, like you, am a bit in the air as regards, I don't know what his racing style will be going forward, but by all accounts, he did a 4:04 last week. If he keeps doing that, he's going to be in the very, very later stages of this derby. Really interesting one. Has the value gone, or would you be still tempted?
Well, that's why I was got. It's one of those dogs where I just saw his raw pace in the Kirby. He got knocked out in the quarterfinal stage, but I liked his trial, and I actually made him the best bet on the card on the night when he won. He was late on the card. I made him a nap in the media tipping challenge, and I didn't expect him to actually do it in that fashion necessarily. I thought he'd be more a moderate break, show his early lead and win. But he just literally blasted out the boxes. He obliterated his rivals in all truth and did a smart time as well. So I just think there's probably more to come. And I just think he looks a nice dog. And as much as I like Ballinabula Ed's now sort of 10-11 on the exchange, whereas this fella's going to be 26, 28, I think, something like that. So I just wonder whether he might, as you just said, obviously Liam and Shane think a lot of him. He might just offer that little bit of value adding to the bets that we've already had.
Yeah, before I get whether you want to update on your outright selections, I believe someone's posted on YouTube. I was going to bring in that comment now. Good morning, gents. Ballinabula Ed, this is something special. Flying Machine, backing him twice at 33-1. Well done, Gary. I think that's the right price to be on. Gary Smith is on at 33-1. Paul, tell him to hold on to those vouchers, shall we say, or keep his position strongly.
Yeah, I did the same actually. I backed him 2 or 3 times. So yeah, I think you're in a good position, put it that way.
Paul, remind us of your selections prior to the competition. You were definitely Ballinabula Ed. I know you had Bocco's Belly. What were the other two?
Scarty Yank and another one. There's a big list of them actually. I had it with me, and now all of a sudden it's gone below.
I had to work it out myself.
I'll
go ahead. I had Ballinabula Ed, Scarty Yank, so the two same as you. I think I threw in Romeo Magico and Hoodoo Brown.
You did.
All 4 of mine qualified. I think all 4 of yours qualified. Did they?
They did. Yeah, they did. I was just trying to think. There was. I mean, I'm like you. I've probably backed sort of 6 or 7 dogs, and I'm not ashamed to say it because
Paul, you can double it for me. Now, granted, the chunkier bets are on 2 or 3 of the dogs we've mentioned, but there are definitely, I'm telling you, there's about 15 dogs winning me money at this point. They can't all go through to the final, unfortunately. But I will tell you one thing. I've added to the list this week. My only addition to my list is a dog who definitely has the ability. Showed plenty of pace in the opening round, ran into a little bit of traffic and perhaps had his own thoughts in the game. But I put in Glengar Scholar just at big prices. I think he was about 66 around that mark. I think he's worth a couple of quid because I think from the draw, first heat on Friday night, I think he's an absolute guaranteed qualifier. I think Pat will have him fully tuned to produce a big run. And Glengar Scholar is my addition. Just at prices.
Yeah. One of my pals, he put up a dog that I kind of liked, and I thought he ran well in his heat as well. Was Kilkenny Santee. I'm just a little bit worried if he's got enough early pace. He might be draw reliant a little bit. He's desperate for the rails, and he's got a nightmare draw actually in the second round.
I was going to say, I was looking at his run going or his race going. I'm not sure he's going to qualify because Stefan's Rockets in 4 and is immediately outside. He's driving straight in. He's Cushy Concord and Hello Hammond on his inside. He's held by Hello Hammond and Shelburne Park form. We know Cushy Concord is exceptionally strong. He did 29.35 last week. And then Ballymore Border ran a big race last week. And even Coppice Brewer on the outside, if he got in front of Kilkenny Santee, he'd be struggling to pick him up. So if I was to back Kilkenny Santee, I think I'd be waiting to see if he got through to the 3rd round. And you know, I don't think his price is going to collapse by any stretch unless he absolutely flashes out and does a 29.10.
Yeah, and going back to Glengar Scholar, I backed him actually for his heat, so he's heat 1, and I'm just a little bit worried that he might edge off a little bit from 1. I think he's more of a sort of trap 2 suits him better, but Sion Mraz will probably stay fairly straight. Might edge a little bit, and he has got a little bit of early. But I think if the trap's open and you see a good break from 1, the fact that 2's there, he might just hold him in a little bit anyway. And then you're looking for the stayers, Call Me Steve and Form Rebel. But yeah, Glengar Scholar was one of my bets as well in the very first heat.
But in terms of outright, would you be tempted, or have you added to your list?
No, I've not backed him. One of the dogs I wanted I probably will have a little bit on will be, which is a bit silly now because everyone's got to back him as well. Would be the Ballymac dog. So.
Yeah, Ballymac Leon. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take a quick run through the second round heats. If there's nothing that interests you heat, just say skip. We'll move on. First heat for me, Glengar Scholar. I think he's one of the bets of the round. I had another man on to me last night that thought Call Me Steve was one of the bets of the round. I can see the argument for both Fahan Rebels on the outside, but if he's going to be coming from off the pace, he's going to need to be sharpish early because you're not going to be passing the likes of Call Me Steve or Glengar Scholar very quickly. Any interest in that one, Paul?
Yeah, I've backed Glengar Scholar. Yeah.
Okay, on to the second heat. Nothing here for me. we have to mention Infield Trojan. This time last week, Paul, you were giving him a very good mention, and he absolutely, well, I was going to say he hacked up. He won by a comfortable half length, but a good price, 3-1. Well done to you.
Yeah, he was a fair price, to be fair to him, and I only had a very small bet in him, but yeah, I thought that was tough enough. Sign it Denver as a greyhound that ran really well against Coulivan Calvin. It would be a good yardstick, so he'd probably be slight favourite. Sporting Chili's got a good makeup because Infield Trojan will go across for him. But all in all, I didn't really want to play tough in that race.
That's one of those races where qualifying could be tough. You know, you have real strong runners, Ballymac Belvolt and Amaze Me Seb. You have the former track record holder, Sporting Chile. You have the talented duo of Lemon Barticus, who's certainly better than his opening round effort, and Infield Trojan. And Sign It Denver, I think, is the one to beat in the contest. On to Heat 3. I thought Spinosaurus was a perfectly fair price. I think he's around a 3-1 mark, Paul. I think we were both a bit shocked that he won last week when he passed Low Hammond, but it was a fine effort. He won on merit. He'll definitely edge inwards, and leading the likes of Aussie captains not going to be easy. But if he turned close to the pace, he's strong as well. I thought he could represent a bit of value. Other than that, I can't take much out of the race.
Well, I've got one of my strongest bets in this race, so
go on.
I've gone Daring Deezer. I was really impressed with him. He matched Night Tornado to the bend, and you're not telling me that Aussie Captain or Spinosaurus would lead Night Tornado. So again, Headford Mike wants to be drawn nearer the rails, more of a staying type of dog. Narcos Dode on his outside, slow away. All he needs to do is get any kind of break there, show his early, and I think he'll get round Aussie Captain around the first two turns. I really think this is a nice dog, and he's literally come out of an A4 at Yule.
Daring Dacia. Dacia is basically the name for Waterford. So the Daring prefix does come out of Waterford. I think it's the Maguires that have the Daring prefix down in Waterford, and that's where that came from. Daring Dacia. So the fact that they call him Dacia, he's obviously shown promise from the start.
I thought he was German, and that's Deezer. So
yeah,
that's my get out.
Yeah, man. Moving on to the fourth heat here. It's tricky. You know, I'm looking at the Irish Dogs and Cush Concord, Low Hammond, the Ballymore border, and I could actually make claims for any of them, but at the same time, you could make claims for Kilkenny Santee. I thought at the prices, I thought Stefan's Rocket was a big price. He's in the ping box. He has tremendous early speed. His problem is he doesn't often ping, but if he did, he'd certainly have the early speed to lead here. Just thought at fancy prices, you could probably get double figures about him. He represents a bit of value, but I won't be getting too involved in that one. Yourself?
I've backed Cushy Concord. And I know he wants to move off himself. He probably wants to be drawn to nearly 3. But Hello Hammond's going to move middle for him and moved off more than I thought he would in his opening heat. So
no, surprised me.
I think he'll get a lot of room. Kilkenny Santee probably doesn't do anything too quickly early, and Stefan's Rocket will be going across him. Ballymore Border. I'm really impressed with this dog. I like him. I mentioned him to you last week, so I might be having a small saver on him. Coppers Brewer's got a great draw in the outside.
Did you get the place money last week?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I only really probably a small victory because I went more with the win, but a real big price. But yeah, I did cover with the place. Yeah,
it's nice. He was a decent price in the place market, of course. On to Heat 5, all about Ted, perhaps the one to beat, but his tendency to cut in towards the corner, Paul, is a big worry, especially in a heat where there's loads of early speed. Swift Iconic, Burnchurch Mick, even Milton Noah can go up well on his night. It's not a race for me to play. I think I'll be watching this one.
Again, I haven't actually played, but I will be playing. I'm betting all about Ted. And I heard you last night on Racing Post Ground TV say about he cuts in. There's a massive ally. You weren't listening to Derby Lanes. Burnchurch Mick will be going straight into lane 1. Yeah, and he's got an animal.
The chance he takes care of the early speed on the inside then.
Well, he's not guaranteed to lead Swift Iconic. He's not guaranteed to lead Swift Iconic because he's no slouch to the turn. And I just think that if John's dog comes out of the boxes, I think Burnchurch Mick's in a world of pain. I think that Skywalker 40 in 1, Jimmy, Jamara Jimmy in 4, and Milton Noah in 5. They're all staying types of dogs. All About Ted showed nice speed to the corner off a moderate break last time out. And you're right, he does cut the bend, but I don't think he'll have too much on his inside. I think if he doesn't lead, he'll turn second dog here.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Heat 6, Deadly
Not
Showtime at the
convinced.
Bowl
He's
Fred.
not
No,
convinced. I can
not
tell.
convinced. But listen, I'm just afraid of one of them will get loose because he's cutting in so much. He could hit the trap one runner. Do you know what I mean? It's just an issue. Deadly Showtime at the Bowl Freddy are dominating the market in Heat 6. And if they do things right, it'd be hard to see them getting beaten. Although Signet Goofy certainly has the early speed, and he's like he knows it. He knows how to win. 13 from 29. He's certainly going to be prominent. But I think Deadly Showtime at the Bowl Freddy, one of them, will be too strong. If it wasn't for Trap One, I'd be fancying Deadly Showtime. Just worry about the ping. But I think of all the Irish dogs, he'll come on most for his run last week. As I said last week, he had a little bit of a nick and they've been waiting for it to heal. He's had little work done. He can only improve. He's a very natural starter. I think the Bull Freddy did absolutely everything right last week. And no doubt there'll be chunks of change for him again because the owners aren't afraid to put it down. But I think Deadly Showtime might emerge as the one to beat.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there. I think if they break level, the Bull Freddy isn't getting round Deadly Showtime. It was more of a smash break that got the Bull Freddy to the front. I didn't think he showed masses of early pace by any means. And as you say, if they break level, he won't get round Deadly Showtime.
Heat 7, one of the big names is going to crash out. It's inevitable. We've got the likes of Dealish, Frankie, Ballymac, Leon, Bocco's Belly, and of course our own Ballinabula Ed. We feel like we own a leg of him at this stage. Much will depend on the start. I think Bocco's Belly's not going to go anywhere except straight or edge in slightly, and I think that will play into the paws of Balnabola Ed, Ballymac Leon. Much will depend on whether he can start like he did last week. He flashed from trap 2. All evidence would say it's easier to flash from traps 3 and 4, so he could easily do what he did last week. Again, he's a half brother to Pastana, who certainly no stranger to flashing out of boxes. Dealish Frankie, a good win last week. I thought he really did dig in and ran very well, but he's going to need to recapture his trapping boots if he's going to be worrying the judge here. Balnabula Ed is the one to beat, Paul. I think we'll both agree on that. But it's an interesting heat.
Oh, it's a massively. It's not one you'd handpick if you're on Ballinabula Red. Put it that way, because you can't afford too many mistakes, and yet we both waxed lyrical about him leading into this race and into the competition. In fact, but yeah. It's a shame because there are going to be a couple of good dogs that are going to go out here because Freedom Alibi, he won the Northern Puppy Derby at Newcastle. Dealish Frankie won the Monmore Puppy Derby. Bocco's Belly is an old track record. He's getting on a little bit in years, I suppose, but he showed that he's still got that ability. But they can't all come round on the inside. Bocco's Belly will probably go into lane 3. Ballinabula Red's going to steer a sort of 5 into lane 4.5. And all he needs to do is get a decent break, mind himself. If he doesn't lead, he'll turn behind someone like Ballymac Leon, and it'll be a race on. And it is a really, really good race to watch. I don't think it's, from my point of view, necessarily a massive punting play, but I know that Ballymac Leon was a big, big price with one of the firms, and I did have a few quid on him because it was a completely wrong price. Although I make Ballinabula Red favourite, I don't make him odds-on favourite, if you get what I mean. So
you're a more evens 11 to 10 sort of idea.
Correct.
Sort of,
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I can't disagree with much of that. 4 to 5 evens, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't play that many at that sort of price. Although, if I thought he was a 3-on chance, I'd play it. Exactly. Moving on to the last of the heats. No Irish runner here, but this is going to be some blaze into the corner between Signet Ace and Bubbly Apache. Bubbly Apache, can he ever repeat the 401, Paul? That's the question. He is a natural starter, but that was just a fresh dog coming here in great nick. Absolutely shot the lids down. It's a bit remarkable that he didn't win, but we'll get to that when we touch on Barefoot Supremo. But he's still going to have to repeat that start to get around Signet Ace. And even then, okay, Farney's Maestro is probably not going to worry them, and Antigua Cuddles, but it's far from a 2-dog affair. That said, you'd expect 3 and 5 to be out clear.
Yeah, I mean, you say that Farney's Maestro might not worry him, but I slightly disagree there, because I think Antigua Cuddles, Farney's Maestro have got a deal of trapping ability and a modicum of early pace as well. So Signet Ace can't afford to be sloppy at track race, because he will want to go in. I've got him sort of lane 1 and a bit, so he will be edging in. But you're right, it's that kind of pinger's box. But if he doesn't get the ping, then he's still got to clear both 1 and 2, and that's probably going to be a good thing for Bubbly Apache. While that's happening, if he gets a reasonable start, he'll be there. And the fact that he looked like he got reeled in quite readily by Supremo. He must have been 5 or 6 clear at one stage.
Yeah.
He's probably going to come on for it. Now, whether he can ping like he did and do the 401 across the line, that remains to be seen. But having said that, he's done a 408 before.
Yeah.
So even if he does a 408, he's still going to be up there. Sign at Ace is doing 417, 419, 410. He's still going to be up there with him.
Nail your colours to the mast.
If you're asking me for a tip, it have to be Apache. Do I want to take evens? Not really.
No, nor me. I think I'll be on the pink side of that argument rather than the blue side. Moving on, Saturday night heats. We'll race through these, Paul, because we do want to give our best bets for the second round. We don't want to keep people too long. Heat 9, 3 Irish runners: Ballymac Fairone, Sing Along Sally, Emily's Jet. The real powerfully charged runners: Baggio's Champ will be flying home. God, he's a real nice one for 6 bends again. He was flying obviously over 6 bends prior to his Derby campaign. Savannah Bow will be running on very strongly. I know he has plenty of support and Old Fort Chicago on the outside, but for me, I think this will come down to the ping. I do believe the 3 Irish runners are the 3, and whether all 3 can qualify with the likes of Baggio's Champ and Savannah Bow coming hard at them. But they are 3 very strong runners: Ballymac Fairone, Sing Along Sally, and Emily's Jet. So it is possible. I'm struggling at present to separate them. I don't believe Sing Along Sally's an even money chance. I'll put that out there.
Agree.
If I had to favour one, it'd probably be Ballymac Fairone, given the fact there's no real speed in either flanks.
Yep, that's me. Sing Along Sally, I make favourite, but not even money favourite. And Ballymac Fairone, I make second in because of the fact that I think he can lead her. And if he leads her, I'm not sure she's going to get him. So yeah. I think they should finish in the 3. Emily's Jet, you say, is a nice greyhound, but he's sort of more of a banger, and can he clear the pair of them? Doubt it. So all things being equal, I mean, I was really impressed with the fact that Sally ran from 4 in her opening heat against Park Blake, who was in 3, and she almost moved off a little bit. In the old days, she'd be diving straight for the rails, but she's learning now.
Do you think it was because Park Blake pinged? If he hadn't pinged, do you think she's probably looking for the inside ground? It was just an instinctive thing.
So what she's going to do is she's going to look for the inside ground when there's clear daylight. And that's what I'm saying about a clever greyhound. And Sing Along Sally is a clever greyhound now. Yeah. She is the real deal. She's one of those that is fast enough to get to a Derby final, as is Ballymac Fairone, as we know. I hope they do go round hand in hand with a clear runner. I think that'll be some buckle.
Yeah, it'd be a great buckle, because one thing about Ballymac Fairone, he's very fast down the back straight. We know that from last year, and he handles Towcester. Moving on to Heat 10, Night Tornado, Park Blake, Bobsleigh Dream, and Glengard Jenny represent the Irish Romeo and Tilt, and Trump's benefit there for the UK contingent. Again, the Irish dominating the market. Park Blake is the 5-4 favourite. I think I'll leave the 5-4 alone, to be honest, Paul.
Me too.
I think I'd be more favouring Bobsleigh Dream. She's in the ping box in 4. I thought she did everything right last week, and the fact that Park Blake has to get around Night Tornado, that's no easy task in itself. I think Bobsleigh Dream represents the value.
Yeah, so do I, and I have actually had a little nibble at her. I thought was an extraordinary price. So yeah, that's me. Again, I make a second in. I make Park Blake favourite, but not skinny favourite, because of the fact that he's got to clear his kennel mate in a fast animal, Night Tornado, who doesn't really seem to be seeing it out great at present. So Bobsleigh Dream will see it out. So she could easily ping. Romeo and Tilt's going to move in for her. She just needs to turn in a pitch, and then she could easily outstay someone like. She could easily outstay Park Blake. Sing Along Sally was nearly running her down. I think Bobsleigh Dream might be stronger than Sing Along Sally.
Yeah. Moving on to Heat 11. It's one for the UK. They're definitely winning this one. What's Up Eva and Deanridge Skippy are the big 2 of the market with Make Noise. I just about favour Deanridge Skippy, but it's a race where I can't really get a strong grip on it.
Again, it's a strong race for me. It's a fair bet, Deanridge Skippy. Again, on the makeup. In his trial stakes, he did a 4:10. In his trial, did a 4:10. Last week, he did a 4:18. He missed it, but he's got that potent weapon, Ian. He's got early speed. Chubby's Jet's a one pacer on his inside. Make Noise wants to be going right across. What's Up Eva wants to be going right across. Same with Droopy's Cavalry. I think Make It for Was ran his Derby probably last week. No disrespect, but I can't see him doing a 4:06 again. Deanridge Skippy, all he has to do is start, and I think he'll lead, and that will be good enough.
That's one of your best. We'll come to
It
that in a
is.
moment. Heat 12 would be fitting not for a second round draw, but more of a quarter final draw, even a semi final draw, because each and every one of them very talented. It's going to be tough between Cape Cloud and Skywalker Barry into the corner. Which of them perhaps can take the ping? We know Global Vision can go up better than he did last week. Bocco's Lee is coming back from season. She'll improve. Mickey's Barrett is useful, but he'll need to improve his sectionals. And Fernandez, he's going to need to sharpen up at boxes, but there's no question he has an engine. It's an interesting contest. Does it simply come down to which leads of Cape Cloud and Skywalker Barry?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. But you're right. It's not, it's not like it's just a 2-runner race. I have them front end of the market, and I slightly favour Skywalker Barry in that I was really impressed with the fact that he broke all right and showed nice speed fast. Cape Cloud is a greyhound that seems to be going the right way. He's taken to Towcester well. But again, he was another one that smashed the bars down. So it probably is going to be on the break there. But I think they could turn handy and they'll both qualify anyway. And so,
yeah.
But I've got no strong opinion about who's actually going to win.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I think Skywalker Barry might just get the better of Cape Cloud. I think he's more capable of winning a battle than Cape Cloud is. I think Cape Cloud likes.
Probably agree with you on that. Yeah.
Moving on to Heat 13, another fascinating race. For me, the wrong favourite, Bacos Vieira. I have to tell you, I'm favouring Barefoot's Primo or Wide Open. I'm sort of undecided between the pair. I thought Barefoot's Primo was stunning last week. Wide Open is very strong. She is in 4. I think she'll clear 3. She could easily clear 2, and I think she'll clear 1. So if she does ping, she could go round in front. We know when she does go round in front, she's very hard to beat. Le Bonite, a dog. I've been calling it a bitch up to now. It is a dog, Paul. You're right. You corrected me last night because Pat corrected you. 5 Irish runners. I think 3 of them will go through. I think Dreamers United probably will struggle here. I'll end up probably siding with Barefoot Supremo Wide Open. Perhaps Barefoot Supremo. He owes me little. I had a chunk of change in him in the opening round. It was a stunning run.
It was. Yeah, he showed good stamina, put it that way. Again, whether he can do it in this lineup, I don't know, but you'd fancy he could qualify. I kind of crabbed Bocco's Vieira a little bit in that he doesn't come out the boxes, and yet he broke okay, and I was actually quite impressed with him. And I'm trying to weigh up that form because, as I said, Make It For Was probably that came into the Derby as a reserve. Can he break as well as he did again? Because he wasn't really a consistent breaker in Ireland. But I went back and I kind of watched him because when I first looked at this, I thought, me being me, I think Le Bonite will lead. I think he's got a big chance of leading. And then when you look at his time, 29.62, and he had that clear run last time, but he did actually beat Kildare, so it's not a terrible run by any means. As a dog for dog, you're looking at, he beat Kildare a neck, and Bocco's Vieira beat Make It For Was 4.5. I don't think there's a comparison in form clues. I'm still undecided about the class of the maiden Derby form, but I've got to tell you, I don't think Wide Open is terribly drawn in trap 4 here. I actually think her best box is 3. Dreamers United will be edging in. I think Barefoot Supremo, he'll go in from 2. Wexford will stay on the pipes. So I can see the traps opening here. Le Bonite trapping well, and I can see Wide Open trapping well as well. And I think she'll put herself in the race here. And they're the 2 I actually like in this race. Yeah,
I just warned you now, Barefoot Supremo, while he hasn't gone to the corner yet in Towcester, he's certainly capable of going to the corner better than he has been. And I'm of the opinion that if he clears JT Wexford early, I think he'll lead Dreamers United. I just don't think he's going to be too far off the pace. Bocco Vieira could be a different proposition if he's in 3rd or 4th. He's going to need to trap on terms and get a prominent position because he does tend to drift around a bit when he's in behind dogs. On to Heat 14 here. The market favourites are Hoodoo Brown and Prices Jet. Not 2 dogs I'd like to be backing at short prices, I have to tell you. I thought Hoodoo Brown ran a big race in defeat in the opening round. He was right on their tail on the corner. He lost all sorts of ground. Himself and Jaguar Macy became involved, and he stormed through. I think it was Savannah Camino he passed as if he was stopped around the bottom 2 bends and charged home. Like, Savannah Camino is very strong. That just goes to show the power of Hoodoo Brown. Price's Jet on the outside. Even at his age, he just simply doesn't know where he wants to be. He goes up well on the outside, but then he looks for the inside in various other parts of the race. That was to cost him. Romeo De Niro certainly going fast on the inside, and Magical Duke went up fast, did everything right last time out for the shrewd Gary Griffiths, and even Dapper Rodney can't be completely dismissed. I think Coppice Fox probably needs luck, but it's a contest where if you are playing, make your selections very small, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I must admit, actually, Harry Finley mentioned about Hoodoo Brown, and when you then said about Hoodoo Brown, I kind of went back and looked at him, and you think, oh yeah, slow away, and he runs on strong. I'm going to tell you, make a statement here. This dog wasn't devoid to the corner last
No, he was
time in the
showing pace
first
into
round.
the corner. Yeah, he
He
was
was
what, about a
showing
length
pace
behind
into
him. Yeah,
he was showing pace into the corner, Ian, and so what I'm saying is, if this dog gets any kind of break, say does a 4:12 or something like that, he's going to be up there. He will be up there, and he's got awesome all-round speed. So I'm probably a believer now, and I think,
if he does a 4:12, Paul, it'll be how far he wins rather than will he win.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So what I'm saying is that if there's a match race between him and Price's Jet, I think I want to be on Hoodoo Brown.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. No, I tend to agree with that. If I was to favour one in the race, it would be Hoodoo Brown. But I've just have that little asterisk that we haven't seen an awful lot of him yet around.
Because he's August 20 and he's just, he's still learning his trade, and you know he can still make that mistake because of his trapping. I understand that, and it might be that he'll never learn to trap, Ian. That could be. I think that's probably in the back of your mind. But one day, if he starts, he will put in some kind of run.
Right. Heat 15, Romeo Magical, Coulivanny Calvin of the UK runners. Of certain Latoro out in trap 5. He's the 11 of 10 favourite in around that mark. It'd be interesting to see what way he favours on the exchange come Saturday night, because there'll be certain punters who want to go involved or get involved. There'll be other punters who want to take him on at bigger prices than that. I'm going to give Coulivanny a chance, although Romeo Magico is one of my outright selections. He's going to need to trap on terms, Romeo Magico. Coulivanny Calvin is a probably more natural starter, and if he does get to the front early, Lataro want to be running. But this is one hell of a race. Like, even Stories Pee-wee will be flying home, and Ninja Kerry I thought was a bit overpriced at the bottom at 20.25. I just thought that showed enough in defeat last week to suggest it could race prominently, and it did trial well around Towcester. But it's an interesting heat, to say the least, Paul.
It is a very, very interesting heat, and although I make Lataro favourite, he's about that sort of even money mark, I guess, and he's one of those. It's you can really make your mind up. Will he trap like he did last time? I'm sure that he'll get some kind of run through, but I had to back Romeo Magico here at a big price. This dog is one quick. I can't believe how he got in all that trouble in his opening heat and still qualified. And I know he got beat 5 3/4 by Darian Disha, but I think he's a big runner here. I just got that little bit of a niggle that he'll be moving off a little bit. And again, I respect Kelvin. I thought Kelvin broke moderately and showed late EP into the turn, but I've also written down he's still very, very inexperienced. You can see that he still doesn't know how to put one foot in front, which is scary because he's doing 29, 28 and times like that. But he's still not the finished article, and obviously that's why Michael's fetched him over, and because they know that there's a massive engine in him, and they fancy they've got him right now. But I think they're the big three in the market: Romeo Magico, Calvin, and Lataro. And at the prices, I've had to go with Magico. I actually backed him at 7 dead, so
7.
I'm happy with that.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, Romeo Magical. If I get 7, I'll be following you. Again, he can go up much better than that, no question about it. And Coulivanny Calvin did drift off that second bend, so if he's there pitching on the inside, he'll get a clean run. And we know one thing about him: he hammers down the back straight, Romeo Magico. Whilst Calvin just has to prove that he's really top class down the back. I think he's plenty fast enough to challenge the very best. But he was headed last week down the back straight by sign at Denver, and until he sort of goes about it and leads out front and goes to the third bend in front, well, we won't know. On to the final heat, hit 16. Kildare, Scarty Yank, and Thorn Falcon. They're the big three. Even Master 1010, though, can't be completely dismissed from top 2. He did everything right last week, but he's going to need to improve considerably for us. I'm not even sure what will be favoured, Paul.
No, me neither. I think there's the front three in the market is going to be Kildare, Scarty Yank, and Thorn Falcon. That's a given, but I wouldn't be sure. I slightly favour Scarty Yank, and yet I could be with Thorn Falcon because he's got a great makeup. Kildare was the other dog actually that I had in my list of 4 anti-post, by the way.
Correct. That's right.
And I was slightly disappointed with him in his opening. He's slightly disappointed. I'm still out. I know he missed his break, and I know he went up again, probably showed better late EP, and he jumped over the back of Le Bonny a little bit, but I still thought he'd fetch him off. And he didn't. And so I was just slightly disappointed with him. And I do actually think that Master 1010 might just be there in his eye line if he doesn't really bang out the boxes. So I think that's a little bit of a negative. Whereas I expect Scarty Yank to trap. I think he'll get past Zazera's Jack in 3 and Black Rose Tiger in 4. And the other thing is with Thorn Falcon, it's like, Ian, he just hasn't come out of the traps, has he? He just for 3 races now,
walked out, yeah.
He hasn't come out of the boxes whatsoever. But he's going to get. He can't get a touch because he's going to be out wide. And he did a monster run to get to within 2 lengths of Sign It Denver. But he's got that. You know, we've seen him in the Derby final. I mean, he's got the 4.16 when we actually trialled in between the trial stakes and the first round. So you know it's there. At the moment, he just keeps fluffing his lines at the break. And when you get against good dogs, you can't afford to do that. But I still think that within the context of this race, he'll at least finish 3rd behind Scarty Yank or Kildare. Yeah. But if he starts with them, this will be a race. And any one of these 3 could win this race.
They could win this race and they could win the Derby. Like, that's how good these 3 are. You know, they're really top-class performers. Paul, that's 16 heats. Briefly previewed, expertly done by yourself. I've been trying to keep it under half an hour, and here we are at 41 minutes. Outright bets. Give me 2 or 3 for the 16 that really stand out to you. I'll tell you what. I'll go nice and quickly because I'm going to nominate Glengar Scholar. He's not a massive price, but I just thought the makeup was perfect for him, and I'll go with Bobsleigh Dream at the value prices. Paul, what about yourself?
Yeah, I've already got Bobsleigh Dream anyway. You're right. I do like Glengar Scholar. So now you've said that, I'll probably join in. But I've got to put in Ballymacleon, Ian.
Ballymacleon against your beloved Bull.
No, but I just think they'll both qualify.
It's purely prices. Yeah, purely prices. Yeah, no problem. Hey, what more do you want? We're giving you 2 or 3. I tell you what, I was briefly going through the dogs we mentioned last week, and without sort of doing a bit of damage to my shoulder, we fairly nailed it. Between we gave a lot of winners, like you mentioned, Infield Trojan. You gave Ballymore Border a good mention. I wanted to mention that because he was a massive price. He ran a big race in second. You know, he's 3 or 4 to 1 to finish second. You know what I mean? So plenty of money there. You gave Spinosaurus a good mention last week. Scarty Yank was your nap. You deserted Stories Pee-wee, although you said he had a life. He came through and landed the spoils. And of course, Deadly Showtime. I mentioned Bobsleigh Dream, obviously Balnabula Ed, both short prices. Same with All About Ted. But I also put up Barefoot Supremo at 7 to 1. I'm happy with that one. So I think if you were following us in the opening round, Paul, you didn't lose money anyway. No. Unless you were betting in all 32 heats, which is pretty much an impossibility, but I think you made a few quid. Listen, Paul, that's it for this week. You'll be back with us next week. Lots to look forward to. Then we're down to 48. It's all on the one night from now on after this second round. Lots to look forward to. Once again, a reminder that the sign-up offer with Matchbook Betting Exchange, Insights 30, is the bonus code. £30 welcome offer. Money back is a free bet if your first bet loses. Why not have it this weekend? Perhaps on one of Paul's selections. Maybe Ballymacleon, Daring Dacia. Daring Dacia, perhaps for Paul Lawrence. Yeah. Another one that he had mentioned. If he wins next week, I'm sure we'll be hearing Paul talking about that one. But that's it from us this week on the Matchbook Betting Exchange English Derby podcast. Join us next time. Best of luck to those remaining in the Derby. Again, 96 will become 48 this week. Things start to get interesting next week, Paul.
They certainly do, yeah. And we'll be covering all that on the watch along. So that's something to look forward to this weekend.
The watch along sponsored by Matchbook Betting Exchange. Don't forget that. I'm going to be making an appearance certainly Friday and perhaps Friday and Saturday night. That's it, Paul. We'll see you next time. Best of luck and God bless.